President Vivian Crabb reporting.
Awesome. Great. Uncle Richie, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Awesome.
There was a little feedback, but otherwise it's okay.
Okay, great. Awesome. All right. So I think we are all set. 1 second here.
The recording has started.
All right, ladies and gentlemen from around the world, once again, we are very excited to welcome all of you from across the world to the studios of the Be Inspired podcast. Today, we are once again privileged to discuss some important topic regarding the role of a man in marriage. But before we dive into the details, with all humility, if you don't mind, let's say a word of prayer. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we give you glory, we give you praise. We thank you for your mercies and we thank you for your love. Thank you for bringing us together again in the month of June to celebrate Father's Day and also to discuss a very important topic. Lord, as we get ready, we pray and we commit Mr. and Mrs. Crabb into your hands. And we pray that you grant us wisdom, understanding to be able to discuss and learn, unlearn and relearn to the glory of your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, so is it better for a man to be married or to remain single? How can a man effectively fulfill the role of husband and father while living up to the expectations of work, friends, and the extended family? Well, as you all know, today is Father's Day. And as we celebrate Father's Day, today we are looking at the topic marriage, blessing or burden for a man. And we are so privileged once again that Mr. and Mrs. Crabb will take us through an hour of learning, an hour of questioning before we wrap up. But today, our lead speaker will be Mrs. Crabb. So, men, fasten your seatbelt and enjoy Mrs. Crabb. Over to you, Mrs. Crabb. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jacobs Ade. And happy Father's Day to all men listening right now. Happy Father's Day again to everybody. And if you think you are not yet a father, you are a father figure. And you're already being a father to someone. You may not even know it. So happy Father's Day to all the men. So the question is, marriage, is it a blessing or a burden for the man? We have to think of what a burden is first. So the dictionary definition for a burden is that it's a load, typically a heavy one. So is marriage a heavy load for the man? Why do we think of it as a burden? Now, maybe burden in terms of a weight or something that you wouldn't be doing if you were not married. Maybe that's why you think of it as a burden. Now, what are the expectations for a married man when you are in the marriage? What are some of the expectations that everybody expects you to do? They expect you to play a leadership role in everything. Take the leadership role as the man because you are the head of the home. When you are married, the man is the head of the home. As the Bible says, so they expect you to take the leadership role. Financially, you are supposed to carry the whole family, be the main provider for the family. It doesn't mean that the woman doesn't help, but you're supposed to be the main provider. So maybe sometimes you see it as a burden. And then physically, you're supposed to protect the family also, all round. If anything, if we are in the house and anything happens, we expect the man to take that role first. If we want to fight something, we expect the man to take that up first. So expectations, we are supposed to protect the family. Socially, we are supposed to be the family's representative in the community, in everything. When they say, for example, household crap, everybody's looking up to Mr. Crap, to pick it up and do something. So socially, you are, being seen as the one who is representing the family. Spiritually, you are supposed to be the leader and be the example in faith and in the practice of worship for the Lord. Whatever faith you are in, you, the man, are supposed to be the head. In relation to wife, emotionally, sexually, everything, you are supposed to take care of your wife. In relation to the children, you are supposed to be the role model for the children. That's not an easy task. That's why some people say, do what I say, not what I do. But they do what you do because they are watching you. So you are being a role model. In everything you do, whatever, how you talk, they will talk like that. How you behave, they will behave like that. Sometimes you think that they are not seeing it, but they are seeing it. And some people are having problems in adulthood because of what they observed in their fathers as children. Recently, we were talking to a guy about how he treats his wife. He just burst out and said, it's a learned thing, mommy. That's what I saw my dad do my whole childhood. So it's there. You are a role model, and so you have to do it well. You are also supposed to be a disciplinarian, because you are the authority figure in the home. So you are supposed to make sure that your children are doing the right thing. If there is a need, you will have to discipline them and not only always leave it for mommy to do. So you are supposed to train them. You are supposed to train them to become responsible citizens. This is all, some people see it as a burden. You are supposed to provide for them. Provide for your children, especially. And sometimes children, they think that parents, they have everything. They think that as soon as they ask you, you have to provide because they think you have. So it can be a burden to you. You are to show them love. Show them love, as the Bible says in Psalm 103, verses 13 and 14. Let's see what the Bible says.
Psalm 103, reading from verses 13 and 14, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation. The Lord is like a father to his children, tender and compassionate to those who fear him. For he knows how weak we are. He remembers we are only dust.
Amen. So we are supposed to show compassion to our children. As a father loves his children, so the Lord shows compassion. You see, God knows us. In spite of all that we do, he's so merciful. He knows that we are frail. And so he has compassion on us. That is how the father is supposed to have compassion on the children. And sometimes it becomes a huge burden for the father because the children are not doing what you want them to do. Sometimes they are not even respecting you, but you're supposed to provide for them. You're supposed to do everything for them. You can think of it as a burden. Then some people also feel they are limited in their freedom. When you become married, some say it like it's a prison yard, or a prison sentence. when you get married, because you can't, sometimes you want to go for boys, you can't go anymore. You can't do so many things. You want to go somewhere and you are needed at home, and so you think it's a burden. You think you are no longer free. And if you are married, you should be thinking and asking yourself if you are doing all these things or not. And if you are doing it, is it a burden or not? These definitely are not easy to do, but think of it this way. When your heart is really into something, you don't approach that thing as a burden. You tackle it with energy and determination to succeed. Even sometimes when people are trying to discourage you, people are telling, oh, don't do this. Because of the passion you have, you just keep focusing on what you want to do, the goal you want to achieve. You don't see it as a burden. Let's see an example in the Bible. It's very interesting. Genesis chapter 29, verse 20. Let's see what it says.
Reading from the New King James Version, Genesis 29, verse 20. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her.
Amen. You see, Jacob worked 7 years, and it seems like a few days, not even a year, to him because of the love he had for Rachel. He did not see it as a burden. He looked something small. That's what happens to the men. When you have your mind set to something, all that you don't see it as a burden. And yet, after them, when you are, chasing the woman, you will do all kinds of things. When you are courting, you will do all kinds of things. It doesn't matter. It's only when you marry that now you see it as a burden. What is the problem? You see, it will help if our men approach or deal with the expectations for the married men with a similar energy and determination. Determine that you want your marriage to succeed. And when you are doing anything, you will not see it as a burden. Marriage does not bring only burdens. There are many blessings in marriage. Look at it this way. It tells us that married people tend to be healthier than single men. And that is true. Sometimes that's because the wives bother them, pester them, go for checkup, do this. Sometimes they don't even want to go for the checkup, but so that you stop talking so much, they go for the checkup. And sometimes they go and they find things that if they hadn't gone early, it would have been a problem. There is a guy who always says that he will thank his wife forever because the wife kept pestering him to go for a checkup, and it was becoming so annoying. And then he decided, you know what, let me just go and do this thing so she will get off my back. He goes, and the doctor realized he came in the nick of time. He would have had serious colon cancer. And he's thankful to his wife that, for nagging and pestering him, she saved him his life, gave him more years. So you see, it's not that bad. And married life also brings stability into one's life and provides a basis to look forward for more positive things into the future. You look forward to the future for positive things because you have somebody around you. You have a purpose for living because of your wife and your children. You know that there is something you have to live for. Sometimes even that helps the person to look forward to life in a better way. One guy told his story that he used to be very, very drunk. He will drink, he will, mess up himself and everything. One day, a woman asked him that, he had a little girl whom he loves so much. So the woman asked him, don't you love your daughter? He said, yes, I love my daughter. Don't you want to walk her up the aisle for her wedding? He said, yeah, I would love to. He said, the way you are drinking, you will die very soon. You will not have that privilege for your daughter to go, for you to take her, walk her up the aisle. That set him thinking, stop drinking. You see how it can save your life? He stopped drinking. And another guy said, somebody saw him once, the way he was driving in town. He loves to speed and sometimes drive recklessly. And another person saw him and said, don't you think about your wife and children, that you leave them too soon? It set him thinking. And he started thinking about it to drive more cautiously. You know, just having a companion with you has mutual health benefits. Not just as a friend, but as a wife. One who shares your goals in life, who is committed to you for life. That person with you saves you in a lot of ways. No. When you are alone, many things can happen to you when there is a companion with you. Sometimes we even sleep in the night, you don't know what happens to you. It is only the person lying beside you who can see that there's something wrong. Many people have been saved. They did not die because somebody was beside them and saw there was something wrong and could wake them up or call 911. It is very important. One man told me that he thinks that his wife, she's not a good woman. She has done so many things against him, but thank God for her. Because the day he had a serious asthma attack, if his wife were not there, he would have died. So you see, he saw that there is a benefit in all this. And for those who say they don't want to say, there's a reason why we say for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. Because we are pledging that no matter what, we will be with each other. It's part of the vows, and it is needed. Because some people, they think that, it's not necessary. We won't say that. For those who don't want to say all those, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, we are actually trying to tell us that the slightest trouble and you are out. Because you are not vowing for better, for worse. You are not vowing for richer, for poorer. You are not vowing in sickness and in health. So if anything like that, you are free to go. Somebody actually told me that. Actually, about 3 different women told me that. One of them said she did not vow for poorer. So if the husband is poor, she's out. Another person actually told me that she did not vow for better, for worse. So she thinks that this is the worst time, so she's out. And she's not bound by it because she did not vow for that. So that's what you are saying. Studies have shown that married men often have better physical health, longer life expectancy, and lower rates of severe diseases compared to their unmarried counterparts. It's all benefits. The support the support and companionship provided by your spouse can lead to healthier choices and better mental health. Sometimes you think the wife is bothering you, but she's the one who is seeing that your sugar intake is too much. Maybe you have to reduce it. This you have to reduce. This you have to reduce. We know a guy, before he got married, he said, the way they sat and ate with their friends, all buddy, single men, the way they ate. When she met this lady, he began to tell him, if you eat like this, it's not good for you. She began to talk with him. He understood, and he changed. And now he's looking very healthy, much, much healthier than before he got married. What happened? A wife. Marriage offers a support system for you to manage your stress, and it encourages healthier habits because things can change. Just somebody beside you watching things you are doing can caution you. Maybe your friends, they don't really know you in depth, but the person who is with you 24/7 sees some things and lets you know that, you know what, maybe you shouldn't be doing things this way. And it's a help. And it helps you. It is your life. The psychologist Metzger states, and I quote, marriage can contribute positively to a man's emotional health. From a psychological perspective, marriage provides emotional security and solidarity by providing a primary support system. Additionally, marriage can increase men's psychological resilience by providing support in coping with stress and coping with emotional challenges. Understanding the pros and cons of marriage for a man, it's evident that while marriage requires commitment and compromise, the emotional benefits include a profound sense of partnership and emotional fulfillment, contributing positively to a man's overall emotional landscape. And unquote. You see, here are some amazing benefits of marriage for the man. I'll just read through them and let's listen carefully for the amazing benefits that you can have. Everyone craves an opportunity to start afresh in different aspects of their life. Marriage indicates a new beginning. And one of the ways to get this done is by getting married. But when it comes to the benefits of marriage for a man, it includes a new beginning for him. It will be the right opportunity to get his life on track with added responsibilities, but also it implies that he will no longer live his life as a bachelor, but as a married man, and everyone would expect him to live up to the demands of that status. You see, when you're a bachelor, you can do anything. You go out, you come back when you like, and sometimes it can be dangerous for you. But when you are married, you know that you have to get back home because your wife will talk. So you have to get back home, and you may not do things just anyhow. When you're all single and you do whatever you like, but when you're married, you begin to think, and you will not do things that way. Marriage also ensures oneness. Becoming one is among the steps of getting married for a man. He'll get to bond with his partner, his wife, and they will become one team. One team. This means he has someone to share his burdens with and someone to support him. It's very important. An emotional and psychological bond is established when you are one with your wife. Therefore, it will be wrong for the man to do some things without your partner's knowledge, without your wife's knowledge, because you are becoming one. So both partners will have goals to meet, and it becomes easier for them to work together to make these goals a reality. You have so many things you have in mind. When you share your goals, two is better than one. So when you work together, you see that you will achieve even more. The two of you. The Bible says one can chase 1,000, two can chase 10,000. Can you imagine 1,000, 2, 10,000? It is more. It means you achieve more. So marriage is not that bad as you think. It's good. Another point is that it teaches you compassion. It teaches the man compassion. One of the benefits of a good marriage is compassion. When you get married, you will learn how to practice compassion. And if you are not used to it, you will learn it. And in addition, you will understand how you see things, differently from how your partner does. And it's all learning. Sometimes you think that, everything should be the way you think it should be. And you get married and you realize that, hey, life is not like that too. My wife doesn't think of it that way. One guy told us before he got married, he thought he was the best thing that happened to man in life. And then he got married and he saw that his wife was seeing flaws in all that he was doing. He was wondering, who is this woman? Why is she troubling me like this? And that's the truth. He saw that, there were things that maybe nobody told him, but his wife talked about them. So he realized that, hey, I need to wake up. So it is very important to look at things that way. A good marriage provides a foundation built on trust, understanding, and commitment between partners. And this solid foundation can encourage the man to be more emotionally sensitive and empathetic. Mutual understanding, compassion, and support between partners can improve a man's emotional intelligence and strengthen his emotional expression skills. Additionally, shared responsibilities and coping with emotional challenges can deepen the man's sense of compassion. So even if some things look strange, we must show the partner that he cares about their feelings. And doing this helps the man to strengthen his commitment to his partner. It also makes the relationship healthy because both parties show each other compassion. It is a work we are doing together, so we show compassion to each other. Another point is that you get a trusted companion when you marry. You see, when you are listing the benefits of marriage for a man, the one point that you cannot skip is companionship. There is companionship. Getting married means you have someone who will always be there for you. Through thick and thin, you know that there is somebody there. And even all your friends and acquaintances, when they are not available, your wife is there. Your partner is always constantly there for you and to help you, keep you company in everything. Sometimes you may not even have anybody coming to visit you, but your wife is there. And as you grow old, the number of people around you begin to reduce anyway. The older you grow, the lesser you have the friends. And you know that at a certain point, when you have more money, you have more friends. And they will come. Some of them don't even love you. It's your money they like, so they come and pretend they love you. As the money reduces, they will be reducing. Your wife is always with you, whether you have the money or not. Remember, we say for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer. So we are there, But your friends may desert you, your wife will always be there. And so make sure that you are friends with your wife. Another point was that it gives you intimacy. One of the advantages of marriage for the man is that you look forward to intimacy. And as a married man, you have the luxury of being intimate with your partner anytime you both want and anytime you can. Your wife is there. This means that you can have abundant romantic moments with your partner without harboring any insecurity about doing the right thing or not. You are free. And it also means that you get the option of being intimate with someone you share a connection with. Not just this one night stand and all that. You don't have a connection with a person, but you have a connection with your wife. And so you can share many things with them. Instead of wasting your time thinking of how you can be romantic with some girl somewhere, think of how you can be romantic with your wife. You will enjoy that even better. You have fulfillment. Sometimes what you are doing outside, you are even scared. You are trying to hide from people. If you see somebody around and you see, hey, this person must go and report, you are hiding. You don't want anybody to see. If you are with your wife, you are free. You can do anything. You don't fear anybody. You know, another point is that there is better economic stability. If you have asked what the benefits of marriage to a man, and one of them is the economic stability that comes with it. When you are married to your partner, it becomes easier to share the financial burden, especially if they are hard-working too. If your wife is a hard-working person, you will share the burden and you will work with each other. Many researchers believe that married people tend to be wealthier than single people. Also, they know how to manage money better, which makes them save and invest more. If a man is facing financial difficulties for some time, he can rely on his partner to take care of him while he tries to bounce back. So we are working together. And it is good for us to be transparent with each other. The real financial gain comes when we are both transparent with each other. We are talking about everything, sharing everything. Sometimes you may want to do something, it will take your husband or your wife to caution that, hey, maybe this thing you are doing, it may not be profitable, or think about it again. Or sometimes you have to bring your partner in to make sure that the thing that sometimes people just need to see your wife and they know that, hey, we won't play jokes with this man. Same way, sometimes they just want have to see your husband, we won't play jokes with this woman. Because you are together, you are working together, and you achieve a lot. Another point is that it provides mental health. Having better mental health is one of the benefits of marriage for a man, especially. Getting married increases your access to social support because you have at least one person who will be there for you. You know that your wife will be there for you. According to studies, single people or men are likely to experience mental health problems like depression, anxiety, and so on, more than married people. Married men can also go through certain mental health concerns. However, the rate is low among them, maybe because of their partners. When it comes to being married with benefits, doing things together with your partner keeps your mental state stable in the long run, because you are thinking of someone else. Someone is also there caring for you, making sure that things go right. So it is beneficial. Another point is that it makes the man an asset to the community. You know, everybody sees you. As when you are married, immediately some more respect comes to you, you know, and everybody is looking up to you. When you get married, you may feel that responsibility has been thrust on you, particularly civic responsibility. Therefore, you will likely respond to volunteering when anything is needed in the community. You know, you can easily volunteer yourself to do it. It's easier to see married men provide help in organizations like schools, churches, and NGOs. You know, it becomes a second nature to the man because he's used to caring for his home and being responsible for his family's welfare. If you go to a PTA meeting, because of your son or daughter, you are there. And so you easily volunteer. In church, you know, when things are being done, you easily volunteer to go and do. Sometimes it's a children's program. Because of your child, you want to go and be there. It's all part of it. So it helps. Another point is that you contribute to reducing societal violence. As a man, You contribute to reducing societal violence because when a man is married to his partner and they have kids, the chances of his children becoming delinquent is low compared to when he is raising that child alone as a single father. When both parents are raising children, the chances for the children to do better are far, far better than a single parent. When the man and his partner are responsible for the child's growth, there is development, good development. Because when one party is not around, the other person is there at all times. So there are times that maybe mommy has to go somewhere, daddy is there. There are times daddy has to go somewhere, mommy is there. So there's a balance at all times, And so, yes, similarly, one of the benefits of marriage for a man is that he will be less likely to commit crimes because his primary goal is keeping his family happy and safe. So there are some things that he will think of twice before he does it. He has more responsibilities, and so he will focus on his responsibilities and not cry, and do the right thing. Another benefit is that when a man is married, he learns how to show genuine love. He learns how to show genuine love. Showing genuine love is one of the benefits. And you learn to show love to your wife in a way that shows commitment and sincerity. Because, women can figure it out when we are faking anyway. So you want to do it sincerely, You may not get perfect first, but you begin to understand things. You begin to understand what true love is, and it's healthy for you. So you learn. There may be things you don't know, but you learn from each other. It all helps. Another thing is that you become happier. A married man becomes happier. Generally, marriage makes people happier. Unless you are married to someone who is proving to be a demon. When you get married, you become happier because the thought of spending life together with someone forever is thrilling. So you look forward to all the moments you will share your life together. And because you're already doing things that you are enjoying life, you look forward to many more years. So there is joy, there is happiness. And you are working together. So it's not only the man who is looking forward, the woman is also looking forward to many happy days. So she's also doing all she can do for the man to be happy. And so we are both happy. Another thing is that there is the opportunity to create your dream for your family. Everybody has a dream, I believe. And it is great when you can share it with someone and, you can do it with someone. Maybe there are many things you didn't have as a child. Some men did not get the chance to grow up with their fathers or grow up in a good home, which may have affected them as an adult. But if you make up your mind that you want something different in your adulthood for your children, you can do it. And you need to work with someone. That is why you need to work with your wife. It will become a reality. Whatever you didn't get, you will make sure that your children get, to make a difference in their children's life. So it is good. It is good for us. One of the benefits of a marriage for a man is having the luxury of creating your dream for the family. You can do it, whatever you want. Sometimes you prove to your father what he didn't do for you. And we have heard fathers say that, I didn't do well, but my son is doing very well. Somebody said that, that's one thing I did not achieve. I did not succeed in marriage because he had multiple marriages. But he saw that his son has done very well. And he was very proud. They said that his son has even written marriage books and, he doesn't have any idea what to write. He's very proud of his son. You can make a difference. You can change everything. Another good thing is that you have the opportunity to spend life with your best friend, which means that your wife must become your best friend. You work towards it. You were friends, and then you got married. The friendship doesn't have to stop there. You have to work on the friendship in the marriage all the time. What do you do with friends? You work together. You play together. You do things together. So you want to build on that friendship, and you can do it so that your wife will be your best friend. When people ask why men get married, one of the answers is that he gets to spend life with his best friend. That's what they say from the beginning. So why does it change? If you are not working on it, it will not work. It is work. You have to spend time, with each other so that you will become your wife is your best friend, your husband is your best friend. You are working.
And Mrs. Caroline Idro. Just the line just dropped, so Mrs. Crab is joining very soon. Just hold on. Yeah. Maybe about a man who said he was very proud of his son because he has written some books. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, we broke off. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
You can hear me. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, we broke off.
We have no idea.
We have no idea. I don't know where we got to.
You actually go to where a father was very proud of a son who has written books.
Okay. So we continue. So it is good. It's a benefit. You feel proud when you have achieved what things that your children are doing. You are very proud of what they are doing. It's a fulfillment for you yourself because you have done the work. And so that is when people will tell you, well done, you've done a good job. You feel good. You feel proud, Another point is that you have someone to accept you for who you are. Your children accept you for who you are. Your wife accepts you for who you are. Sometimes some people say things like, I don't know what this woman sees in this man, but she loves him. That is her husband. When you are married to someone who loves you, they will accept you for who you are. And this acceptance is one of the benefits of the marriage or the man. They will accept your flaws. and they will work together with you to correct them and have understanding. You know, in many things it is understanding. They understand you, they help you, we work together, and we accept each other as we are. The man also has the opportunity to help his partner also to get better. So we are working together with each other. And you see, all these things that we are talking about, they are all benefits that you get. Sometimes you don't think about the benefits. You are thinking of the work. You think it is a big work that you are doing. The key issue we share, the key issue we should all think about at this time is this. Somehow, in the work we do, the work Uncle Richard and I do, in our experience of working with couples over 30 years now, we notice some things. Those who complain or those who see marriage as a burden are those who want to enjoy the benefits without doing the work. You see, they want to enjoy everything. They want to be the head of the family. The wife should respect them as head, but they just want to be there. But you want the respect. You don't want to do anything, but everybody should respect you as the head of the family. You don't do anything for the children, but they should see you, they should respect you as their father. That is the problem. And often those who complain the most about their wives disrespecting them are the ones who do not want to acknowledge that the wife is actually taking care of some of the responsibilities that he should have been doing, he should have been carrying. They fail to acknowledge even that, as they complain. And the very things that they don't do, they don't see it, they only see what the other side is not doing. That is the problem. It is interesting how Proverbs talks about marriage. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22 says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. That's what the Bible says. According to the Bible, God's favor is a gift. It is a blessing. And that can include approval, acceptance, especially benefits or opportunities. You know, it is a way for God to intervene in your life and make a difference, make you a difference. You know, so it is not, it shouldn't be a burden. Let's not think of it as a burden. You know, why would the Bible say if you marry, if you find a wife, find a good thing and you obtain favor from the Lord if it is bad? You know, it is a good thing. So in conclusion, let's see it this way. God's plan for marriage is not for it to be a burden to you, but a blessing. He made it that it will be a blessing. He meant it, the husband and wife, to work together to enjoy the blessings. When you do it, you enjoy the fruits of your labor. So it is you who will enjoy it. It shouldn't, let's not see it as a burden. Let's see it as a blessing. Something God has prepared for us to enjoy and put our minds together. And when we are working together, we will see that we will both get the benefits and we will enjoy the marriage. We will not see it as a burden. We will see it as a blessing. Thank you so much for listening. Dr. Jacobs Abbey, over to you for the questions.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Crab, for that powerful presentation. And folks, I'm sure you have learned a lot, just as I have. I have taken a lot of notes, and I'm very sure all of you have taken notes as well. So as we do it here at Be Inspired, After the presentation, if you are on the phone line, you have the opportunity of unmuting yourself and asking question directly, and Mr. and Mrs. Crab will respond. Otherwise, you are also welcome to send a text or a WhatsApp message to country code +1, area code 571-337-9185, and we'll gladly read that on your behalf. We try as much as possible not to disclose the individual who sent the message, so your name will not be mentioned, but your country or your state will be mentioned. And then if you are also on YouTube, you are welcome to post your question there, and we will read that as well. So, Mrs. Crab, let's begin with a comment or a question. It said, and this is coming from YouTube. It says, can we qualify it with this? Okay, wait. It says, can we qualify it that these benefits are from healthy relationships, as unhealthy and toxic relationship could even be fatal? I don't know if you understand the question. I think let me read that one more time and see if you can pull it together. It says, can we qualify? Can we qualify it that?
We got it.
Okay, great, great.
He said, can we qualify it that these benefits are from healthy marriage relationships? As unhealthy and toxic marriage relationship could even be fatal. Yes, that is correct. I mean, as with everything, there is the good and the bad. Our focus is on healthy marriage relationships. Not every marriage is going to give you these benefits. These benefits are definitely for healthy marriages. And our aim is to have all of us work towards that. So if you are in a marriage that isn't seeing these benefits, or for you everything is negative, then you need to seek help right away. Don't continue in that state. So yes, the one who asked the question is correct. These benefits derive from healthy marriage relationships. And if you are finding, and we also have to qualify, you won't have all the benefits. Maybe you would have all what we mentioned and more, or you may have less. But on balance, it is very clear, research after research, different countries have shown that married people tend to be happier, healthier, wealthier, and tend to have better mental health. Usually because there is somebody else in their lives, and also because there are people depending on them who give them a positive purpose in life. So yes, if these things aren't happening for you, there is work. And as the saying goes, none of us is perfect. But in the same way, none of us wants to remain miserable. So don't, I would say, don't shortchange yourself by saying, well, no marriage is perfect, so you want to continue suffering? No. As the questioner said, there are some relationships that can even be toxic, and yes, some have even led to fatality. So once you do know that things aren't going well, please seek help. Dr. Jacobs Abe, you have the contact. We can put you in touch with us, or you don't have to talk to us, but seek help from a counselor. Talk to someone who can positively help you. Don't just talk to a friend. Talk to somebody who, what I mean is, don't just talk to somebody who will sympathize with you and then you go back into your misery. Talk to someone who can genuinely work with you and help you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Uncle Richard and Mrs. Crab, for that response. So let's see. A question coming from Nigeria. And it says that Thank you so much, Mrs. Crab. It appeared that you focused primarily on the benefits. Of course, that is a good thing. But my question is, in what ways might marriage be viewed as a burden or a challenge for a man?
I think those were the things we started with. I talked about many ways that, the expectations. People see it as a burden on them, playing the role of a leadership in everything, taking everything, the financial burden, you take it as a burden, protecting the family, you see it as a burden, so many things, taking the spiritual role. It becomes a burden for some people because they feel they're being troubled, they were not used to going to church every day. And now the wife is pushing them or telling them they have to go. It's a burden. Anything can be a burden. How you see it, that's what we are talking about. That you can see it as a burden, but you can work towards it so that it doesn't become a burden. Just the example we gave in the Bible, Jacob had to work 7 years for Rachel. He didn't see it as a burden. It looked like a few days because he loved her. That's what we should be focusing on. Working for 7 years, is it not work? It is serious work, but he didn't see it as that. You see the few days because of the love he has for her. That's what we have. Anything that you see as a burden you can also see it as a blessing, depending on how you focus on it. That is the issue. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Crab, for that as well. All right. So since we are in West Africa, let's remain there for now. So let's go to Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone says that how have societal expectation and gender roles influenced the way marriage is perceived by men?
It's normal for all of us. Every one of us has grown up in a certain culture, lives in a certain culture. Plus, we have our own ideas. So just think about it. There are four, major aspects influencing whatever we do. You grew up in a particular home, in a particular culture. You may be living in another one. Two influences already. You have your own idea, of how life should be, how your marriage would be like. You may have formed that when you were very young, or maybe in your early adulthood before you got married. Then, let's not discount also, there is what the people close to us, and I'm talking about friends, the things they say, no, this is not what a man does. A married man, no, those, so there are four key influences we can see that affect the way we do things within the marriage. Each of these come with their expectations. If you don't do what your other married friends do or say, you may be the strange one. Naturally, we don't want to be isolated. So you may be tempted to go along, even if it might be detrimental to your own marriage relationship. It's the same. You grow up in a certain culture or a certain family. There are certain expectations they have of you as a married person now, earning certain income. So why aren't they benefiting from you? Maybe that's the norm, and you are unable to do it as expected. That can be a burden to you, Then I said you're living in another culture, So this question comes from West Africa. Assuming you were not West African and you were Japanese, now living in West Africa, there will be other things you will be fighting against. Oh, I'm Japanese. my culture, no. Men don't do this, women do that, things like that. Then you're living in West Africa, it could be different. Or you're a West African, you're living in Europe, or, all these influences affect the way we do things. And so it's up to the two people within the marriage relationship to navigate these waters together. And that's why sometimes one or both can feel the burden. But more so because generally speaking, the man is expected to be the head of home, the head of family, the leader within the marriage. And I'm saying generally speaking, this is the expectation worldwide. So anything that kind of threatens it or destabilizes that expectation can be a problem for the man in the marriage or even for the woman. So those are things we need to be aware of. Yes, these societal expectations are there, but it's up to us within the marriage relationship to navigate them. That's why the more united we are as a couple, facing whatever we have to deal with makes it easier. It reduces the burden on one person. Knowing that I can discuss financial demands on me from my extended family with my wife lessens the burden of having to find that money all by myself. That's just one example, And sometimes having somebody like that to talk through the things that I may have to deal with as a man, as a husband, yes, those things, or it also helps knowing that I do have somebody I can even bounce ideas of who is a trusted companion and who can give me wise advice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uncle Richard. Thank you. Now let's come to the United States and let's do some few questions that came in through the WhatsApp here. So this is coming from Pennsylvania, and it says, "Great presentation. Happy Father's Day to all men listening to the show." My question is, how can open communication and compromise help to alleviate potential burden within marriages for men?
I'll link this to the immediate past question about societal expectations. See, the man is supposed to do X. The man is supposed to do Y, A, B, C. Sometimes it's just simply impractical. Just the mental load alone is enough to crush you. Remember, as a man, you have your job, you have your wife, your family, there are other responsibilities you might have even in the community. All these are on you, or as we say, on your head. You see. Then, what do? If you have somebody you can talk to, you have somebody you can discuss, that's why we encourage the openness and transparency in communication. I ought to be, as a man, a husband, I ought to be able to bear my heart to my wife. Look, this is the pressure I'm facing. To be able to provide X number of dollars, X number of pounds, or naira, or whatever it might be. This is something. Even discussing that, we can come up with an idea how to handle that particular thing, and perhaps even come up with a better solution than simply sending money. Many people living outside their own countries are faced with this. There are several who are trying to solve or deal with the situation alone and facing the pressure all by themselves with the accompanying mental stress. And very often the mental stress shows in our bodies. you know, depression of some kind sets in. We're snapping at our children. We're snapping at our, you know, spouses, our wives. They have no idea. But if we can be open and communicate with each other and share some of these things, we will reduce the burden. Doesn't the saying go that a burden shared is a burden reduced? I've even heard of some say, you know, a problem shared is half solved, things like that. But at least being able to share with somebody and get ideas from them also on how to handle it is important. And I want to stress again, that is why we need to work on our relationships with each other. And live, because when either person is going through some of these mental, you know, stresses and strains, it always affects the other spouse. And if you have children, yes, they will also suffer from it. So we are better off being more open about it, and which also means we have to respect and, you know, aim to understand what we each have to deal with. You know, it's not, well, you're with your people. Okay, my people are asking that I should bring them money and you're telling me it's my people. Okay, some of the money I could have contributed to, you know, our home is going. And it's going to affect us. That's just one simple example. But probably an area where we often don't talk about is the demands on our time. Especially when you're living in a place where, you know, particularly the extended family is not too far away. You know, demands on your time. You have to do this, you have to go here and take us there and that. You have a car, they'll do it. So there's things that we have to discuss and come up with ways in which we can handle it as a couple, so that the individual who actually has to then relate to the, you know, whichever side it is, sometimes it's even friends, you know, that person is not too stressed. Because whatever they suffer, the partner, the spouse will also suffer. Eventually, it will affect them as well. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Uncle Richard. Thank you. All right, so let's see here. So, since we are still in the US, let's move to further east. So, this is Virginia. And the question here is that how have changing family structure and dynamics impacted the way men view marriages?
That's a loaded question. It depends on where and when.
That's right.
I think over time, if you think, for those who are in the, let's say, if you are in your 60s, you know that life was very different for men. The family structure was much more hierarchical in terms of the order of authority. Many cultures are still hierarchical. The father is at the head, the wife or mother, and then the children. You see, much of the world is still that way. You know, even though we talk about we're equal before God, etc., we have equal rights, etc., even within the marriage, there is still that hierarchy. It may not be today, it may not be as pronounced as it was maybe 40, 50 years ago. Another thing also that is radically different is that the workforce has changed. Compared with 50 years ago, I'm talking of the formal workforce. There are many more women in what we would call the formal workforce in office situations than there were before. If you think back, if you lived in a country where your father was the one who went to the office. Your mother may have had, your grandfather, I would say, may have had something. He would the one go to the office. Your grandma would have had something to do, maybe some business around the home, sewing, baking, cooking, selling, That has changed. That dynamic has changed. There are many more women now in the workforce. It's linked to education also. It used to be men were the ones who were sent to school. In more and more countries, the ratio of men or boys to girls in school is evening out. Still, boys tend to be more, but it's becoming more. In the UK, for example, the US is very close, if it's not the same as the UK now. There are more women getting tertiary degrees, that's PhDs, than men. It's increasing. There are more women doing their master's degrees than ever before. Even in our work, we're meeting couples where the woman has a master's degree, the man only has a bachelor's. Compared with 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when it used to be either both of them might have college degrees, or it's the man who has a college degree and the woman doesn't. That has implications for family life. Because whereas the woman was closer to home and therefore the children and the upkeep and care of the home, today both husband and wife are out to the office. Both are salary, income earners. So then, what happens to the home? For those who are single listening, this is one of the questions you need to discuss before you get married. How are we going to take care of our home? Don't get married and then expect that if you're a man, expect that your wife will take care of your home the way your mom did. Or the way your grandma did, because it's different. It's not just that we're living, but it's just that the reality is that it is different. And so that's why we need to then begin to make adjustments to the changing, not just the changing times, but the changing reality of what we do. Many people, if you are African, you may have grown up in a situation where your father was the one who gave money to your mother to take care of the family. Today, if you're married, you and your wife are both earning money. You see. So it's a joint contribution. The problem is that some of us, even though this is how we are, we still want to live like our parents or even our grandparents lived. That is why tensions arise. Because the man just wants to contribute his quota to the family and then expects the wife to do everything else. But if both of us work 9 to 5, when we come home, why should one person only have to do everything in the home? And on Saturday, why must the man be the one who is free to do and go anywhere else, and the woman has to clean the home, do laundry, cook, take care of children, have activities for the children? It's impractical. More and more couples are having to share these duties. Unfortunately also, there are those who've gone to the other extreme where they're dividing everything. I have looked after the children 2 hours. You also have to look after them 2 hours. We think it's just silly. We all have to put our heads together. How can we do this the best possible way? Who attends PTA meetings? Should it only be the woman because it's a woman's thing, or should we decide who can do it? Maybe I'll do it this month, next month you stay back, look after the kids. Those are things we have to discuss. Some people use the word negotiate, but negotiate then begins to be like some business transaction. But we just have to look at the practical ways you work. There are people who work nights. the spouse works mornings. Who's going to take care of getting the kids to school? If the man works nights, should she come back from work and then have to get the kids ready for school, or the man takes it up? That's part of the reality some people are living with. The things that traditionally in many, many countries, the US, Europe included, this is not an African or Asian thing. The world over, the woman did the cooking, the man, nope, he didn't. He provided the money. So if the woman is also providing money now, what's up? What if she's not even there to do the cooking? Did the man wait until she comes? So these are things we have to look at. That yes, not only have the times changed, but even the way we make money, the way we work, the way we do things also therefore needs to change. We can't live in the 21st century and yet want to behave like we belong to the 19th century. That's my humble opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uncle Richard. Thank you so much. That's a well thought response. So now let's go to. It's been a while since we got a question from Australia. So let's go to Australia. Probably it's the early morning in Australia, I will assume. And the question said, "Happy Father's Day to all of you." Wow, what a powerful presentation from Mrs. Crab. My question is, are there particular personality types or life stages where marriage may be more likely to be seen as a burden than a blessing to a man?
With any personality type, marriage can be seen as a burden. Anybody. It depends on the individual. It doesn't matter what personality you have. It depends on your view of things, the way you see things. Sometimes it depends on your upbringing and, all that you've experienced in life. So you may be a certain personality, but depending on what you experience as a child, you think life should be this way. And so when it doesn't come that way, you see it as a burden. Matter of fact, two people were having a serious conversation. They were talking with us, and the guy was saying that his wife doesn't take care of the living room. He leaves the children to mess up the living room and do anything they like. And she was surprised that he's saying that because in her home, it is her dad who took care of the living room, make sure the living room was always clean and neat. So she didn't see it as a responsibility. So if the man is asking her to do that, she will see it as a burden.
And what about him?
In his home, his mom was the one who took care of the living room, made sure that it was clean. So he was also looking after his wife. So it is not a matter of personality. It is what they have seen as children. It takes time to talk about it, for both of them to realize that neither of you is wrong. You are both right, but you have to work together. So you don't leave it for the man alone. You also don't leave it for the woman alone. It's upbringing, it's experience. Things that is experienced or things that you have learned. You have somebody talk with you. Somebody had a problem because he said his wife's friend told her that she should let the husband also change the diapers, and he got angry. Meanwhile, he was already doing it before the friend came. The friend didn't see anything. The friend was only observing. At least at the time that she was with them, only the woman changed the diaper. So maybe she just suggested, maybe you should let your husband also do it. He got angry. and wondered why should somebody come and dictate to him. She wasn't dictating to him, but he thinks that why should somebody come and say something about that? So he got angry and decided that he won't change diapers anymore. It's because of what he was thinking. Maybe he thinks that a woman should not tell a man what to do. So even though he was already doing it, there was not a problem. But because somebody came and said something, he went the other way. So it depends on the individual. As for the personalities, anything can happen with any personality. So it is not a personality per se. It is a person's view of everything and experience and what they're thinking or what has happened at the particular time to trigger anything. I hope I've answered your questions.
Maybe he's thinking about, or she, whoever the one who asked the question is thinking about some personalities are more organized than others, So let me tackle it from this viewpoint. It is important to know your personalities, you plural, as a couple, and know your strengths and weaknesses, and then work as a team. One may be more organized than the other. One may be more social than the other. One may be more vocal than the other. So you then know how to work with each other. So it's important to know your personalities. But all told, think about it this way. When a couple starts marriage, two people get married. They've got no children. It's just two people. You have one child, there are three people. The meals will change. Well, you've got what the adults will eat, what the baby will eat. Oh, baby first starts breastfeeding. 1 year, 2 years, they're eating different food. A second child comes. More organization. That's when the stresses build up. You have a third child, even more, because by then the first one is nearing school or may even have started school. That also brings different changes in the family's daily routine. When there's only two of you, you wake up within 30 minutes, at most an hour, both of you can get ready and leave. If you have a baby that you have to drop off, somebody's got to get the baby ready, and then you have to factor in how to drop off, which means you have to organize, you have to plan, So those are some of the things that we all, men and women planning to get married, talk with married people, see how they're managing these things, learn from them. Then when your turn comes, you will have a better idea how to do it. Then you are not overwhelmed. Then you are not so stressed that, one person is freaking out. The man is thinking the wife is so lazy. My mom had 6 children and had no problem at all. And she was, she was a head teacher. And my dad was like this. My dad traveled up. No. Every person is different. Your mom may have done it excellently, but this is not your mom. And you're not your dad either. And your circumstances are not exactly like theirs. So let's work with each other and we will be able to do things better together than against each other, fighting each other in the process. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Guys, are you learning? Because I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. And again, just in case you're on the line and you want to ask a question, you are welcome to unmute yourself and ask the question directly. Otherwise, if you want to go the route that most of you are going on, area code 57, country code +1, area code 571-337-9185, and we will gladly read your question for a response. So this is coming from Arlington, and it says, I think you may have answered this already, but let me still ask for the sake of the individual's question. It said, how does the division of household labor and responsibilities impact a man's view of marriage as a blessing or a burden?
It depends on the individual. You see, That is why you need to talk with each other. And, we both need help. We are working together. So maybe if it comes, you must do this, you must do this. When you say, you must take the trash out, maybe that's what will be probably offensive to the man. But if you I need help. Sometimes, can you do this for me? Can you take this out for me? Let's talk about it. How can we work together? We are both busy people. We are both working. We both go and come. Even if we are home, even if we are both working from home, we are working. So we have to, manage everything properly. Talk about everything. Sometimes it's the way we talk with each other that makes the person feel like you are talking down to me or you are commanding me to do something. But if we can talk with each other, reason with each other, and have understanding, we both need the help. We both need to work together. So how can we do it? What are some of the things you can do? What are some of the things you cannot do? So talk with each other, have understanding, and don't command each other. Sometimes the way we talk, we talk to the other person as if you have to do it. It is your duty. That person will rebel. So it may be the way we talk with each other, but if we can reason, if we can talk with each other, for the person to understand, we both need help. We both are working together. As, someone said it, it's a new thing for all of us. We haven't experienced this before. I've never lived with a person like this. We are living together. We are working together. One child comes. I've never had a child before. So it's a new experience. 2 children come. I've never been a father of 2 children. I've never been a mother of 2 children. So we are working together, understanding each other all the time. A friend of mine even has done it a better way. As the children grew, when they became teenagers, she tells them, I've never been a mother of teenagers. So we are working together. We are all figuring it out. So let's talk about it. If it is not going well, we can discuss. Let mommy know, let daddy know. We are talking about it. But we are working together. And we need to understand just the way we talk with each other matters. So if you think that your wife is not talking to you right, or your husband is not talking to you right, that's what you address. Let the person know that I'm not happy with the way you talk with me. I'm not happy with the way you handle things, how you say things, how you do things. Let's talk and let's have understanding. Understanding should be our aim. That we want to understand each other, we want to work with each other. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Crab. Another question here, and this is coming from Ghana. And it says that, what role do societal narratives or media portrays of marriage play in shaping a man's expectation and subsequent experience of it? So if I read that one more time, so what role do societal narratives or media portrays of marriage in shaping a man's expectation and subsequent experience of it?
Thank you. We're living in times when information flies around the world at the push of a button. So each one of us has a choice who or where we will draw our information from. Will it be from social media? Will it be people aren't reading newspapers that too much these days? Will it be from YouTube videos? Will it be from watching TV shows? Will it be from a book? There are all kinds of sources from which we can get information. But probably the one that's, let me use the modern word, trending now, is people feeding on what we call snacks or scraps. 2-minute clip of how a woman should behave, and then as the saying goes, it goes viral. Men send to their wives, or this is what a man should do for the wife. Well, okay, the woman gives to the husband. We all need to ask ourselves, where am I getting my information from? How credible is that source? But even more importantly, how useful is that information to my relationship? If the information isn't helping your relationship, you have to be wise. The other issue, let me not say trouble yet. The other issue is, and this is a standard we have for ourselves, whatever the source, or whoever the source of the information, how is their own marriage like? And if you don't know, then why are you following them? You see. So that's something you need to ask yourself. If this person is, he's got 1 million people. Oh, she's got all these. Oh, people listen to her from all over the world. How is her marriage like? And if she's on marriage number 3, why should I be taking her advice as a woman? If he has done 2 marriages and now he's not married, but he's either shacking up with somebody or he's playing the field, changing woman after woman, why should I be listening to him as the source for my marriage? Those are things we should be asking ourselves. So yes, whether it's the media and let's not forget that, we have the mass media. And then these days we have social media. And let's not forget that even our friends can be sources of information. Our families can be sources of information. I'm talking of the biological families. You can think of the extended families. Our co-workers can also whisper into our ears. Actually, not whisper. They can speak loudly into our ears. Lunchtime, around the water cooler, as we say, the water fountain at work, or you carpool with them. All these are sources of information, and we need to really review, analyze this information. How helpful is this going to be to me? And even if you try practicing them and you're seeing that it's not helping your marriage, why continue? So yes, we can all be influenced, everyone. We read a lot, as you can tell. Sometimes we quote from some, sometimes we quote from some to balance what we have also shared. We also have our opinions. But the most important thing we think for every marriage is what really works for the 2 of you, not what works for one. And we need to be very careful about simply picking something because somebody said it. Could be an authority figure, religious, social, whichever you might think of, family. But the question is this going to help my marriage relationship? And if yes, how helpful? Is it going to make our relationship better, or it's going to start pushing us apart from each other? So in summary, whatever the source of information, yes, it can influence you if you take it on board. But having done so, you need to review if you apply and determine whether it's helpful to you or not. Don't just take it because, this is an authority figure. My pastor said, or this big person said, or this, no. Why do they say so? How helpful it is to us. And yes, if you are a Christian, there is the Bible also. But even the Bible, people can turn it upside down and create all kinds of confusion with it. So why don't you read it for yourself and see what it says? Rather than say, I listened to the podcast and Mrs. Kraft said, open it yourself. That's why we give you the reference. Open it and read it for yourself. So you can see what it says, and then you know whether what Mrs. Kraft said is right, what Mr. Kraft said is right. So let's not simply take people's word for it. Unfortunately, we live in the microwave, Instagram, Snapchat world where everything is so instant. We don't want to do the work. We want somebody else to do the work, and then we just take it and consume. That's leading to more trouble than is practically useful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Crab. This is getting interesting, and what a powerful responses you both providing on Father's Day. I think we are all learning a lot. And so, folks, you are still welcome to send your questions and views, and will be answered accordingly. So now let's go to Zimbabwe, and it says that how might a lack of emotional and physical intimacy within a marriage lead a man to view it as more of a burden?
It definitely will lead the man to think of the whole marriage as a burden. And if there is truly problems with intimacy, that's why you need help. And sometimes we think of it that way. Sometimes people just say, oh, my wife doesn't want to give me sex, my wife is this and that. What is the problem? Maybe we haven't looked at it. Maybe she herself has had problems as a child. You need to tackle it that way. That's why you need help. If there is any problem that way, yes, it will be a burden for the man, and you are right to view it that way, but what are you doing about it? Are you just saying it, just resigning to it, or what have you done? You need help. You need to seek help. Find who can help you. There are counselors everywhere. There are counselors these days in every country, in every place where you are. You can seek help. So that is what you need to do. Don't just resign to it and say, that's my cross. Some people think that's the cross. Jesus carried all the cross for you. Do something about it. Seek help. Seek where you can go. Seek medical help. Seek counseling. Anything, so that the problem will be solved, so that it will not be a burden for you. You are right if you say it's a burden, because it is. But then you have to do something about it. So what are you doing about it, apart from thinking of it as a burden? How are you working to lift that burden off you?
It's a good point, that my wife just shared. There is also the prevailing expectation that the man should be a strong one in the family, emotionally also, as Mrs. Crab said earlier. Sometimes the man needs help himself so he can be strong, And yes, sometimes the emotional weight of the things the man has to deal with, think about, the stress can be too much. And there are situations where, a woman might think, a wife might think, he's the man. A man has to be strong. But yes, that doesn't mean he doesn't have emotional needs. And I'm not talking of sexual needs. Sometimes he might need cheering up. Sometimes he might need encouragement. Because things are tough at work. His boss is on his case. They're threatening to lay him off. What does he do when he comes home? And sure enough, there are other responsibilities also pulling at home. And yes, he does need sometimes a cheerleader, an encourager, somebody who will lift him up. In the Bible, in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verses 9 to 12, there is a famous passage that is often quoted at weddings: two are better than one. When one is down, the other will lift him up. But we hear this, but in practice, we can easily fail to do so. And sometimes it's not just the man, it can be the woman, who needs that emotional support, but, come on, straighten your face. That's not how you comfort your wife. So guess what? When it's your turn, how do you expect that she will encourage you? She might also say, well, you are the man. You have to be tough. So carry it, bear it. But again, the Bible says we should bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. And it's even more important and beautiful within the marriage relationship because we have a commitment to each other. I think sometimes we do not understand that when we commit to each other in marriage, it's the whole person. It's not what they're giving us. It's the whole person, which includes what they can contribute to our lives as well. But we also, both spouses, need to invest in each other's lives. And sometimes that investment might be helping that person stand on their feet when they feel bowed down by the weight of what they're going through. And we can say, from our experience in doing this work, in the work of ministry with couples, over greatest cheerleader a man can have, a married man can have, is his wife, not his male friends, not his family members, the family he came from. It's a wife who's committed to him and to whom he's committed and wants to spend the rest of his life with. But because sometimes we're thinking, my family is there, so we're not wholeheartedly committed to each other, certainly not in practice. And we're thinking, go and talk to somebody. No, your voice needs to be established in his ear if you are his wife. What if the person who listens to him could be a candidate for side chick? Then there will be trouble. But guess what may have pushed him there? That's why Mrs. Kraft said, if there isn't emotional support for the man, it's a huge risk for the marriage, because who wants to be crushed by a burden? Naturally, we want to be relieved. And you need to make sure that wherever your spouse will get relief is the right place, not one that you will regret about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uncle Richard. Thank you, Mrs. Kraft, for the earlier comment as well. Let's come back to the US and let's go to New York. And it says, are there certain sacrifices or compromises that men may feel they have to make within a marriage that could contribute to viewing it as a burden?
Everybody makes sacrifices in the marriage. We all make sacrifices. So it is the way you look at it. For two people to live together and enjoy life, part of you will have to chip away. Proverbs chapter 27 verse 17 says, iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. You see, when iron is sharpening iron, so many things happen. You hear noise, it's not a nice noise, there will be heat, there will be sparks, there will be friction, but both irons will be sharpened. When two knives, you take it against each other, it sharpens. And for the knife to sharpen, part of it will have to chip away. That's what happens in a relationship. As iron sharpens iron, as we work with each other, there will be some friction, there will be some heat sometimes, there will be all kinds of things happening, but if we allow ourselves to learn from each other, the part of us that chips away makes us sharper. That is why we need each other. And yes, we will have to let go of some things. Of course, you will see it as a sacrifice, but it has its benefits. If you look at all things overall, is this working? What is not working? What can we do to make it better? We will help each other, and we will see that in the end we will enjoy some of the things. Yes, we will see it as sacrifices, but we need to let go. You cannot live like you were as an individual when you were a single person, a single woman, a single man. All that you do when you cannot do all when you are married. That is something you have to let go. And so yes, you will see it as sacrifice, but there are benefits if you look at it overall. So yes, you will see it as sacrifice. You are rightly so to think about it, but what are the benefits? What will you gain from it? That's what you need to consider. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Club, for that response as well. Let's see here. We have a couple. I think we have 3 more questions, and that will be our last questions, except any came in. So this question is also coming from New York. Second question from New York, and it says that how do issues around trust, fidelity, and infidelity influences a man's perspective on marriage as a blessing or a burden?
Everything you have mentioned can influence. I mean, if we trust each other, that'll be great. If one person, even the suspicion of infidelity, undermines trust. So those are obvious things. And what is more important is for us to build our relationships, to develop our relationships with each other, to show love, kindness, respect to each other, such that those things will not happen. You see, we tend to think, oh, yeah, because you never know. What if? Then you begin to prepare for divorce. Why don't you put your energy into building the relationship that it pales in your mind? You won't even be thinking of breaking up. You see, so let's put our energy, both of us, husband and wife. And if you're not married, this is the time to begin to be talking about these things. All right? What are some of your expectations? Things like that. Don't get married and then expect that he will be Superman, because he's not. And let me say this for those who are affianced, we stopped asking people, why do you want to marry? So they will tell you the most wonderful things. Then when they have their first big fight, they realize it's not real. It's very easy to think, she's perfect for me. He's perfect for me. But there are no perfect human beings. You have to be realistic and realize, he might make a mistake sometime. She might not say the right thing sometime. That is a realistic view of each other. We hear people say, I'm a work in progress. But sometimes they say I'm a work in progress because they don't want to improve. They're saying they are works in progress, but they haven't changed the way they're behaving toward each other. No, you're not a work in progress. No. And anything that is not growing is either dead or dying. It's the same with the relationship. So let's focus on those things. This is also why, so let me make a plug for pre-marriage counseling. And even if you are married, you can still do it. We're having couples that have been married 10 years, 12 years. They're going through our whole syllabus, so to speak, or the pre-marriage course, or as we say, we customize it for those who are married, and we can see the marriages being transformed. They tell us, And yes, for us also, even for Vivian and myself, we continue to learn and improve our marriage after 40 plus years because we are not perfect, because we can improve. That's how we can look forward to another day, a better day than today. We do not get stuck in he's like this, she's like that. You can't change me. I can't. No, it's not a matter of changing each other. Learn. And when you learn, apply. Don't assume you know everything. Nobody does. Everyone can learn. And when you learn, practice it. And in practicing, you will be able to improve on what you thought was imperfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uncle Richard. Last but one question. It's coming from Ghana, and it says, "Are there generational differences in how men perceive marriage, and how have these views evolved over time?"
Thank you very much. We answered this before, and I don't want to repeat it, so I'm making a plug for listening to this again when it is posted, you know. But yes, the times have changed. You can't expect that life today is like it was even 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And yes, we adapt to the changing times, you know. That's all I'll say for now. But yes, listen to this again. We do. We also listen to it ourselves, you know, to learn from our own presentation sometimes and from your questions also and feedback. So thank you. Yes, the times change and we have to adapt to the times. When it's rainy season, you use an umbrella. You don't go out without one. That's called adapting to the changing times. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And folks, this will be our last question. And then I will hand over to Mr. and Mrs. Craft for them to give us a wrap up. But it's been a pleasure hosting you today. Our last question, which is coming from the US, goes like this: in what ways could a lack of independence or personal freedom within a marriage be seen as a burden for some men?
I don't think we have to tell you this because it's the individual who's suffering it. If you feel you don't have independence, well, that's you, you know. But there is a sense in which you can give up some amount of freedom, as my wife said a little earlier, for even more benefits, you know. So, yes, it can happen. You may feel, oh, I can't do this that I used to do, you know, oh, my life is so terrible. But what do you have now that you didn't have before? Consider that as well. So, you know, all told, I think, as we said, research is showing that if you're married, you can actually have life better. You actually are having life much better than a single person, you know. Maybe what people are most afraid of is the freedom they have. But yes, you can still be married and still go to parties, go to different places, but maybe not alone. Maybe sometimes alone. But all of that has to be navigated with your spouse. Anything you want to say at the end? Yeah?
Well, we can allow each other to be ourselves, allow each other sometimes to be independent, do things on our own so that we will not be suffocating the other person. Live normal. You know, we were individuals before we got married, so live with each other in a way that we will both feel free and do things freely and, you know, express ourselves freely Allow each other to be themselves. Don't mold your husband to what you want him to be. Don't mold your wife to what you want her to be, your way. It doesn't work that way. You let the other person suffocate. So leave each other to feel free and do things and, be happy in the marriage. All in all, what we have said is that, yes, you can see the things as a burden, and you can also see it as a way to work together to enjoy our marriages. If you see it as a blessing, you will work towards that. And if you know you have a goal, you are working together as a couple. Everything, you are doing it together, considering each other. We will enjoy the marriage. We will not see it as a burden. We will see it as a blessing. Think about when you were courting, when you were, you started, when you met this person, you thought it was the whole world. Everything they want you to do, you will do it. Was it pretending just to get the person? If you were pretending so that you get the person, then it will become a burden for you when you are married because you didn't mean it. But if you do it freely from your heart, it will not be a burden for you at any time. And if it wants to be a problem, you can talk about it and discuss and work together. So let's see the whole marriage thing not as a burden, but a blessing, and work towards that. If in any way you are seeing it as this blessing, I'm not seeing the blessing, seek help. Talk to someone and seek help. And the important thing we always encourage couples to do, pray together. Bring it to God in prayer. Bring it to the Lord in prayer. Express yourselves to God. Let your wife hear you pray. Let your husband hear you pray. All that they're telling God, you are telling God, your partner will hear. And they will also work on it. So work together. Pray together. Do things together. Help each other. See your marriage as a blessing, not as a burden. And life will be good for all of us. Thank you so much for listening to us, Dr. Vicos Abe and the team. Thank you for all you have done. Thank you for the questions. And above all, if you didn't tune in to listen, we'll be talking to Ed. And you listened to us. So thank you so much for listening. God bless you all.
And so, on my own behalf, since there have been so many Father's Day wishes, thank you all. We've read some from the YouTube comments from Abidjan, La Côte d'Ivoire, from Georgia, from Virginia, from Canada, from North Dakota, from Ghana. Thank you all. God bless you all. And yes, happy Father's Day to everyone. Not only for today, but let's make every day a happy Father's Day. Just as we the men, we will also work on making every day a happy day for you, our wives. Thank you so much. God bless you. Talk to you again, God willing, next month. Bye for now.
Thank you all, and God bless all of you. Have a blessed evening. And